He was loud, ruthless, unpredictable, and absolutely brilliant. The Germans didn't just know his name, they feared it. This is the story of General George S. Patton, the man who fought wars with tanks and psychology. He was a force of nature, a general who seemed to be forged from the very steel of his tanks. To his enemies, he wasn't just a commander. He was an unstoppable storm on the horizon, a symbol of American military might that haunted their battle plans. His name alone could make seasoned German officers second-guess their strategies. Today, we're diving deep into the mind of the general the Germans feared most, exploring how his sheer force of personality became one of the Allies' greatest weapons. Patton was born for battle. It wasn't just a career for him, it was a calling, a destiny he believed was written in his soul. By the time World War II ignited Europe, he was already a seasoned and famous commander, known for leading the audacious armored blitz across the sands of North Africa. But what truly made him terrifying wasn't just his mastery of tank warfare or his aggressive tactics. It was his mind. Patton was a voracious student of history, devouring texts on ancient warfare, from the campaigns of Alexander the Great to the legions of Rome. He didn't just study them, he felt them. He genuinely believed he had been a soldier in past lives, a Roman legionary, a Napoleonic cavalryman. This conviction gave him a near mystical confidence that was both inspiring and unnerving. He famously told his men, "We're not holding anything. Let the enemy do that. We are advancing constantly, and we're not interested in holding on to anything except the enemy. We're going to hold on to him by the nose, and we're going to kick him in the pants." This wasn't just rhetoric. It was a philosophy of perpetual motion, of relentless forward-driving aggression. To his enemies, Patton was pure chaos wrapped in a general's uniform. They saw him as a berserker, an unpredictable madman who fought without rules. But behind the bluster was a calculated genius who understood that in war, fear is a weapon just as potent as any cannon. The legend of Patton was truly forged in the crucible of North Africa. In early 1943, American forces were reeling. After a string of humiliating defeats, morale in the U.S. II Corps had hit rock bottom. The soldiers were green, demoralized, and outmatched. Then, Patton arrived. His takeover was less a change of command and more a force of nature. He transformed the battered corps almost overnight. Discipline became absolute and non-negotiable. He enforced strict uniform standards, demanding shaved faces and clean helmets even in the blistering desert heat. He would personally roam the camps before dawn, slapping soldiers awake, his voice booming with a mix of fury and inspiration. He didn't just train them. He willed them into becoming warriors. And it worked. Within weeks, the once-defeated II Corps was reborn. They went from a demoralized unit to an unstoppable fighting force. At the Battle of El Gueter, Patton's revitalized army faced off against seasoned German panzer divisions and won a decisive victory. It was a turning point for the Americans in North Africa, a stunning display of what leadership could achieve. The victory earned Patton the grudging respect of his formidable adversary, Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox himself. Rommel recognized a fellow master of armored warfare, a commander who, like him, understood the value of speed, surprise, and sheer audacity. But Patton's greatest victory might be the one he never actually fought. Leading up to the D-Day invasion, the Allies devised one of the most brilliant and elaborate deception plans in military history, Operation Fortitude. The goal was to convince the Germans that the main Allied invasion of Europe would happen at the Pas de Calais, the narrowest point of the English Channel, not in Normandy. And who was the perfect general to lead this phantom army? George S. Patton. His reputation for aggression made him the only logical choice in the Germans' minds for leading such a critical assault. The Allies created an entire ghost army, the first U.S. Army Group, or FUSAG. They built fleets of inflatable rubber tanks, wooden aircraft, and dummy landing craft. They filled the airwaves with fake radio chatter, creating the illusion of a massive force preparing to strike at Calais. And at the head of it all, they placed Patton, making sure he was seen in southeastern England, reviewing his troops. The Germans bought it completely. Their intelligence reports were filled with sightings of Patton and his massive non-existent army. So convinced were they that Calais was the real target that even after the first Allied troops hit the beaches of Normandy on June 6, 1944, Hitler and his high command refused to move their powerful 15th Army from Calais. For weeks, they held back crucial panzer divisions, waiting for Patton's real attack. His reputation alone had become a strategic weapon, effectively paralyzing a significant portion of the German army and ensuring the success of the Normandy landings. Following D-Day, Patton was finally unleashed. Taking command of the U.S. Third Army in France in August 1944, he did what he did best: attack. His army swept through France with breathtaking speed, moving faster than any army in modern history. They covered hundreds of miles in a matter of weeks, a relentless armored spearhead that shattered German defenses. He liberated countless towns and cities, and his Third Army captured or killed an astonishing number of enemy soldiers. His philosophy was simple and perfectly captured in his own words: "Lead me, follow me, or get out of my way." But Patton's genius on the battlefield was matched by his recklessness off it. His blunt, often profane language and fiery temper made him powerful enemies, both politically and within the military establishment. His infamous slapping of two soldiers suffering from shell shock nearly cost him his command and created a firestorm back home. He was a man of immense contradictions, a brilliant tactician who could also be his own worst enemy. Tragically, just months after the war in Europe ended, Patton's relentless motion came to a sudden, final halt. He died in a bizarrely low-speed car accident in Germany. Some called it a cruel twist of fate for a man who survived so many battles. Others, to this day, whisper of conspiracy. Patton lived and died by the principle of motion. He believed that destiny favored those who refused to stand still, who constantly pushed forward against all odds. He was a complex, controversial, and undeniably effective leader. Even the Germans, who had every reason to hate and fear his name, later admitted, "The Americans never had a better general." In war, he fought for nothing less than total victory. In history, he became an enduring legend. He wasn't just a general, he was a force of will who proved that sometimes the mind itself can be the most powerful weapon of all. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about the titans of history, make sure to follow our channel.